Hi, I'm Anna White. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an indoor playhouse for about $70. I created a brand new plan designed from scratch. The final plans are already uploaded to my website, so you can grab those and download those at any time and build this playhouse yourself. So the big part of this playhouse is the 1/4-inch plywood walls. You'll need 2 full sheets, and we've optimized the cuts so there's barely any scrap left over and everything fits almost perfectly on these 2 sheets. So I just lay it on top of some of the 1x2s and set my saw blade to about 1/8 inch more than the depth of the material, and then just mark and cut. You'll want to mark and cut as you go because the saw blade takes up about 1/8 of an inch, so you can't just mark everything and cut because your dimensions will be off a little bit. One thing I'll say is the 1/4-inch plywood is just like sheathing, so you don't have to be perfect. The 1x2 frames that we're creating later on are what's going to be precise, and this is just kind of like the siding that goes on it. So don't get super stressed out about making these cuts perfect. And the roof panels, I just cut those down real quickly with my circular saw as well. So there'll be 8 roof panels, a front, a back, and then 2 sides. So now on to the 1x2 cuts. Now these ones you're gonna wanna be a lot more precise with because this is what makes up the framing of the playhouse and what's gonna make it look nice. I'm using 1x2 furring strips. They were about $1.50 each. As you can see, they weren't in the best condition. I honestly, this project turned out so great in the end. I wish I had used higher quality 1x2s because this is one of those projects I can see keeping around for many, many years and even keeping around for grandchildren someday. Okay, see, these are my 1x2s cut. And I'm going to use pocket holes to attach everything together. Just one pocket hole on the 3/4 inch setting. I have an automatic Craig Foreman that I use for drilling pocket holes, but you can use the regular old Craig jig as well. Drilling the pocket holes at the angle is a little tricky. You only need one. My suggestion is to lay out all of your pieces on your work table and mark where the pocket holes go and then drill those, just so you aren't drilling too many holes and only drilling holes where you need them. All right, so let's assemble those 2 side panels. We'll call them the gable walls. So these are the 1x2s that I just cut. And it really helps to have a nice flat work surface to assemble. That way you're getting a quality project because you can clamp every joint like I'm doing. And then use 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws. I use glue because I'm just using 1 screw, and if you don't use glue, then it can kind of twist on you a little bit, like pivot on that 1 screw. So use that glue in there to keep that from happening. I put the 2 roof pieces together first. You can see the single pocket hole in the middle, and then those pocket holes at angles are going to go into the roof pieces. These gable walls were the hardest part. They by no means were difficult, but it's a little bit tricky getting those angled pocket holes in, but nothing you can't handle. And there's 2 that are identical. All right, so now I'm going to start putting the plywood panel on the back of the gable walls. So the plywood panel will sit a little bit shy on the outside edges so that the pieces can all fit together. It'll make sense as you're building it. So see how it doesn't fully extend to the sides. That's so we can add the front and back panel later on. I'm using 3/4 inch brad nails. You can use staples as well to attach. And then I'm just going to go ahead and mark and cut off the corners there to get that house shape. And I actually set my saw blade right at 1/4 inch here, so it wasn't cutting into my 1x2 frame at all. Okay, now for the window. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mark the window placement, and the plans have all this detailed exactly where you need to make these marks. So no need to write anything down now. And I'm gonna use my circular saw and plunge cut it. The circular saw will give you a straighter cut. But if you're more of a beginner, maybe think about using a jigsaw. You'll have to, hang the panel off your work table so that your jigsaw blade is free to move under the project. But a jigsaw would be a lot easier. This plunge cutting wasn't necessarily the easiest way, but see how it gives me those nice straight cuts. And then just finishing the cuts. You can finish with a jigsaw or a handsaw like I'm doing. All right, one panel down. Okay, so now I'm going to start working on the back panel, and this was the easiest panel. It was basically a giant rectangle that I just pocket holed together, and just one pocket hole at each corner again, and then glue in the 3/4 inch brad nails to attach the back panel. So when you put your panel on, it'll be a little bit shy, about 1/4 inch on the two side edges, and that is intentional. All right, now the front panel. Now the front panel is a little bit more complicated because we have both a doorway and a window. So what I did is just, again, lay it all out on my work surface, mark all the pocket holes that I need, and then just drilled them. All right, now for the 1/4 inch plywood panel. So just glue, and remember it's going to be about 1/4 inch less on the sides. And then where that doorway is, make sure you keep that plywood edge lined up, because the doorway could pull that board in or out a little bit. And then just go ahead and cut that plywood panel out. So to be completely honest with you, using the circular saw like this wasn't necessarily the easiest way to go. Jigsaw probably would have been easier, but the circular saw gives you a straighter cut. And then this time I decided to finish with the jigsaw. Okay, I forgot to cut the window out, so I ended up having to do that in place. Got a little bit excited because now it is assembly time. So the panels are designed to work right together where the corners will match up, and you'll want to use a self-tapping 2-inch long screw. This is all detailed in the plans to attach it together, and I think I used 3 per corner to really tighten it up. This was a prototype that I ended up actually loving, but you wouldn't want to assemble this until you were in the room, just because it's going to get larger than your doorway. So I would recommend before assembly painting or staining all of your pieces and then assembling. At this point, I just wanted to make sure everything was working out. So the ridge is just a 2x2, and it works really well because it 45-degree angles with those gables. The 2x2 just sits right there, and will give you something to attach your roof panels to. And then I also did a 1x2 eave trim. All right, now let's work on those windows, because the windows are a big deal for this project. So I took a 1x3 and made these cute little window boxes using 1 1/4 inch brad nails. The details on this project are everything. And now for the window trim. So I just cut the window trim. You want to cut your window trim last, because you'll want to use scrap wood pieces to make the window trim, and so you have less scrap to deal with later on. And then just glue in a single pocket hole again. There's all my window trim and my window boxes. So the window trim, I can go ahead and put that on right now because I'm going to paint it the same color as the body of the playhouse. but the window boxes I don't want to put on yet because I want to do them a different color. Since there's going to be little fingers on this one, I decided to go ahead and sand everything pretty good. Make sure that, you know, they're not going to get splinters or anything. I wish I'd used better material again because this turned out so cute. Okay, so for the window boxes, I'm using this aged wood accelerator in rustic brown. I just wanted kind of a wood stained look, and this stuff dries really quick and is easy to apply. And it's really inexpensive. And then for the roof panels, I wanted like a dark gray. So I used this chalked paint. It was really nice that it was like a single coat coverage and went on really good. And then the playhouse itself, we painted it all white. And then the window boxes just fit right over the window trim, and you can either screw those on or nail them. I did 3 nails per end and then a couple in the bottom as well. Isn't that cute? Okay, so the roof panels are all dry, and what I like to do is do the 2 outside ones first. So I'll line it up with the top edge, let it overhang the outside about 1/2 inch, and then I'm using 1¼ inch screws to screw right into that ridge beam. Since I'm going to disassemble this to move this into our living room, I'm not going to add the screws into the eave yet. We'll do that later. And then, so you'll want 4 screws per panel later on. So once I got the 2 outside ones, I could kind of figure out the gap that I needed in between and then just attach them at the top. This playhouse turned out better than I could have ever imagined, and I love that it's very sturdy, that it's substantial, that it's not going to break, that it's refinishable, and you can take it apart and put it away if your child outgrows it and you want to save it for your grandchildren. It's just such a fabulous project. I couldn't recommend it anymore. It wasn't necessarily the quickest or the easiest build because I put all the detail in it, which makes a huge difference. I would probably give yourself, you know, a weekend or a week worth of nap times to build this. It took me the better part of 1.5 days to get it done. But of course I have my shop all set up, so I can knock things out pretty quickly. I decided not to put a door on it because doors, you know, create opportunities for pinched fingers, but you could do that as well. Because it's wood, it's so easy to customize if you wanted to, you know, make a bigger window or put the door in the middle. It's really easy to just cut it out and trim it out and make it exactly how you want it. The plans are linked in the description for free. The only thing that I ask is if you do build it, please share a photo, tag me on Instagram or add a brag post to my website. I love seeing photos and seeing how everybody puts a different spin on their project. Thank you guys for watching this week, and we'll see you next week with a new project plan.